The reason most people struggle with patience is probably another massive thing that's going on in this room, professionally and personally. Most people want to accomplish things financially or status-wise to impress other people, and that is a huge vulnerability. The keeping up with the Joneses, or how people judge them based on their money, their accolades, their status, is destroying people. This goes back to 20 minutes ago of trying to impress people you don't even like, right? So the lack of patience has been one of the most obvious things. Unlike candor, at 20, I already understood it. You know, I felt that I was gonna be a great businessman, but I spent 22 to 34 working for my dad's liquor store, building his business for him. I built his business from a $4 million to a $70 million business, and I never got paid much money at all because it was a family business. And my dad's like, yo, what are you complaining about? It's a family business. When I die, you'll get it. I'm like, Dad, you have great DNA. You're gonna die at 94. I'm gonna be 72. I'm trying to do work out here, I'm trying to make something happen. And so, you know, but it was my patience and my deep ambition to do something great for my parents who did great for me that allowed me to know that even though at 34 I barely had any money, based especially on my crazy ambitions, that I would be able to get to it because life is long, because you can make things happen, you can build brick by brick. And so patience is hurting a lot of people here in a million different ways. People are shortcutting to decisions, making decisions on short-term values versus long-term realities, and I highly, highly recommend a deeper falling in love with patience. How are we doing Q&A? We've got runners? Cool. I'm gonna speak for a little bit more, but I really want people to start thinking about the question they want to ask. And by the way, I know some of you may know me and thrilled to talk about marketing. I think about that quite a bit, you know, whatever that may be. And I think about marketing not just like let's sell sneakers and soda. Marketing is how the whole world works. Communication's how the whole world works. You may want to raise money to cure a disease because your family's been affected by it. You may want somebody to be the mayor of your town. You may want a lot of things happen. I don't think anyone here is confused that marketing and communication dictates the temperament and the decisions of human beings. And so, just two little things on that. First and foremost, if you want something to happen in the world and you're gonna be the one that is trying to make it happen, and you may have lots of opinions about social media, because everyone does now, it's still the platform to make what you in this room want to happen, because it's free. You're more than welcome to buy television ads, go pop out $50,000 a spot, knock yourself out. You're more than welcome to run an ad in the newspaper. The problem is that 80-year-old that's your friend is the only one reading it. You're more than welcome to have an opinion on TikTok, China this, and Mark Zuckerberg that. You can have any opinion you want. But let me just say one thing in this room. If you're gonna be a marketer, you need to be agnostic. You need to be unemotional. You need to care about where the attention of society is, period, end of story. The biggest reason people are not good at marketing or making something happen is they have an ideology of what it should be. One of the biggest things in this environment that people struggle with is candor. Some of you, like me, don't want to deliver candor because you don't want to hurt people's feelings. You're actually non-confrontational. You like really love the person that you're about to talk to that stinks at something and you don't want to say it. And you like, I used to dance like a ballerina. I would dance, I had something to say to somebody, it would take 3 minutes and I was in there for 45 minutes like I'm Fred Astaire. I would dance, and never get to it. And what did that do for me over 20 years? It led to me having very awkward firings and all sorts of, when I think back to any person, the tens of thousands of people that have worked for me for the last 30 years, the only ones, the 100 people that most don't like me, all same issue. I wasn't able to be candorous with them, and I manipulated it in my own mind of like, they should be happy that they're still here because they stink. And how does Johnny not see that he stinks? I shouldn't have to tell him. I should have told him. Because I didn't do any favors. The problem was my whole childhood and my whole early upbringing, anybody that was in my life that was good at candor was horrible at delivering it. The candor was delivered in venom. And I wasn't able to take the vehicle that the candor was being delivered in separate from the value of candor. So what I did was what I always do. In the world, I market and I brand. When I realized how big of a vulnerability this was for me, I branded myself. I created a word and a structure for me to help me. And that's how I came up with kind candor. When I tell you, for a lot of leaders in here, for the organizations in the back, for the organizations in the front, and for everybody in between, including again, the thing I believe, which is a lot of these things are impacting your relationships in your real life, not just your professional life. I highly recommend people, especially the ones that are DNA-wise similar to me, who struggle with telling people the truth when they're disappointed in them. You must find a way to get down the path of candor. The lack of candor has led to every negative thing that's ever happened in my life, singly. That's how big of a deal this is. So I impose, I pray, I push all of you to realize how big of a deal this is. But here's why candor scares me. There are many people in this room as managers who use candor as an excuse to be nasty, to razz, to manipulate. And so it's a very, very, very dangerous thing. I'm just being candorous with you to help you. You know, Gary, I'm just keeping it real. I'm like, yeah, real negative, real manipulative. Candor is a tricky one, but if you can understand the kindness part, all of you know this. You've either been on the receiving end or you've been the deliverer of a message and you know when it didn't land. You're like, damn, that did not go the way I wanted to. It is always because of your relationship with candor. No question, after watching this be the framework of my companies, getting the feedback after the book's been out and just kind of watching, I really believe in this concept of kind candor. I really believe if you understand it, if you can really deliver the challenging news with a little honey instead of vinegar, if you've really got the intent for that person to win, I believe that kind candor really, really matters. And I highly recommend you start working on your relationship with candor. When I tell you, when I think about competitiveness, 10 out of 10. Accountability, 9 out of 10, right? Patience, this is a big one. I crush patience. Everybody wants everything now, which is why they don't get what they want. Patience, 10 out of 10. Kind candor, today, in front of you, 4 out of 10. Literally was a 1 out of 10 or 2 out of 10 3 years ago. 4 out of 10. Let me just tell you how big of a deal this is. From 1 out of 10 to 4 out of 10, it's doubled my business. It's made the closest relationships that I have, my sister, my family, 3x better. I just know that candor is a big one. I know that people really struggle with it because it's a hardcore DNA trait. And for the managers in here and leaders in here, it's a tricky one because almost everybody is either too red or too blue with it when candor needs to be purple. And boy, do we love to judge once we become a leader. Back to the over 40-year-old crowd versus some of the people under 25. We love to judge Gen Z. I just want to remind all the people, this is my favorite thing going on, sidetrack real quick, I'll just go over here for a second. My #1 favorite conversation in the world right now is boomers all frustrated and angry at Gen Z when they're the ones who created them. I had somebody complaining hard the other day about his son. I'm like, maybe if you didn't give him an 8th place trophy, he wouldn't be entitled. Yeah, I really hate 8th place trophies. I don't even like the silver and bronze medal. I think you should leave that shit when they give it to you right on the desk. But that's another story for another day.